WTA ignores Aryna Sabalenka complaint with new tournament announcement. The WTA has announced a new tournament is being added to its schedule, despite complaints from players like Aryna Sabalenka. The Women's Tennis Association has announced that Memphis, Tennessee will return to the tour calendar after an almost 15-year hiatus. The Memphis Classic is set to be held during the week of July 27th, replacing the Cleveland event that had been scheduled for late August. The tournament will be played on outdoor hard courts at the Leftwich Tennis Center and will feature a 32-player singles draw alongside a 16-team doubles field, consistent with the format of standard WTA 250 events. It marks the first WTA Tour stop in Memphis since 2013, when the U.S. National Indoor Championships took place in the city. Previous champions of that event include Maria Sharapova, Victoria Azarenka, and Venus Williams, who recently offered a candid response about the possibility of playing doubles again with her sister Serena. Taylor Townsend shows true colors as she shares immediate plans after Austin exit. Serena Williams' training footage released ahead of potential tennis comeback. Organizers view the tournament as a strategic bridge in the calendar, coming immediately after the grass court swing and offering players a transition into the North American hardcourt season. With the Canadian Open, Cincinnati Open, and U.S. Open scheduled shortly afterward, Memphis is positioned as a valuable tune-up stop that fits seamlessly into that competitive window. "This is a major win for our city," Memphis Mayor Paul Young said at a press conference. "It reflects the investment that we've made in Leftwich Tennis Center, the first of its class facility, one that our residents deserve. When we invest in our assets, we know that opportunities follow." Numerous players have expressed worries over the grueling schedule, calling the tennis calendar exhausting. Aryna Sabalenka, the world number one, recently withdrew from the Dubai Championships with a right hip injury and has previously referred to the tennis calendar as insane. "The season is definitely insane, and that's not good for all of us, as you see so many players getting injured, and also the balls are quite heavy, so it's a struggle for all of us," she said on the first serve. When questioned about following in Serena Williams' footsteps by skipping tournaments, Sabalenka gave a clear and candid answer. "The rules were different. The rules are quite tricky with mandatory events, but I'm still skipping a couple of events to protect my body," she added. If the WTA Tour calendar already feels packed, more changes could be on the horizon. The ATP Tour is also set to implement significant adjustments starting in 2028, potentially making the global tennis schedule even more demanding. Last year, Carlos Alcaraz, Jannik Sinner, and Novak Djokovic all skipped the Canadian Open, highlighting the increasing strain and fatigue players face. "Tennis when voices collide," Sabalenka's cry and the WTA's unyielding calendar. A storm is brewing in women's tennis, one that isn't about powerful serves, thrilling rallies, or Grand Slam glory, but about quality of life, player welfare, and institutional priorities. At the center of this controversy is Aryna Sabalenka, the reigning world number one and one of the most dominant players on the planet. With a four-slam career, a long stay at the top of the rankings, and a fiercely competitive edge, she's unmatched in talent. Yet, outside the lines, she's become one of the sport's most vocal critics, not just for her dramatic power game, but for the relentless demands of the tour that she and many peers feel is spiraling out of control. Cyclone the complaint. A tour too big to handle. 4 months, Sabalenka has raised serious concerns about the grueling nature of the WTA schedule, describing it as insane and openly saying she needs to manage her participation, even at the cost of fines or ranking penalties. She's highlighted the mental and physical toll faced by elite athletes who must balance performance, travel, injuries, and personal well-being. Her critique isn't rooted in self-interest alone. It reflects a broader concern among both current and former players that the global tennis calendar has become too congested, pushing professionals toward burnout and injury. The WTA Tour routinely spans nearly 11 months of the year, with mandatory events across continents that leave little time for recovery or preparation. It's no secret that players retire early, scale back schedules, or struggle with recurring injuries, but having a figure as prominent as Sabalenka speak out intensifies the spotlight. Her stance resonates with millions of tennis fans who watch grueling 5-set men's matches at Grand Slams but wonder what the female tour's pace does to the bodies and minds of these elite athletes. Calendar: a new tournament, and a perceived snub. Despite Sabalenka's vocal complaints, the WTA recently moved forward with adding a new event to the tour calendar, the Memphis Classic, set to return after a 15-year absence. At first glance, this might seem like a positive development, tennis returning to a historic American city, giving fans and players a new competitive opportunity. But the timing, in the same period when Sabalenka has been pushing for a more balanced schedule, has made this announcement controversial. Rather than alleviating pressure, the new event further densifies the tour calendar, squeezing players' travel and rest windows. It's a tangible reminder that, despite elite players' concerns, the governing body's motion remains focused on expanding its reach and commercial potential. For some, including Sabalenka critics, this revealed an institutional blind spot. The message seemed to be growth at all costs, even if player welfare remains unaddressed. Speaking ahead: why Sabalenka's complaints matter. Aryna Sabalenka's criticisms go beyond personal frustration. They gesture toward three fundamental questions at the heart of modern professional sport. 1. Who controls the tour? Is the schedule determined by player needs, fan demand, broadcast contracts, sponsors, or commercial interests? Sabalenka's conflict highlights the tension between a governing body's objectives and player autonomy. 2. What defines player welfare? Player welfare may sound like a buzzword, but in practice it involves physical health, mental well-being, recovery time, and career longevity. For top athletes, the line between pushing limits and overplaying can be dangerously thin. 3. How should the sport evolve? The expansion of events suggests growth, but at what cost? Tennis already spans the globe, with major tournaments in Australia, Asia, Europe, and the US. If the calendar keeps swelling without structural reforms, more players might follow Sabalenka's footsteps by skipping events, potentially altering the competitive landscape. Handshake: the echoes beyond Sabalenka. Sabalenka isn't the only athlete expressing concerns about the schedule. In fact, some of her peers share similar sentiments, though not always in as public or forceful a manner. Even before Sabalenka's criticisms, several elite athletes have acknowledged the grueling nature of the tour and suggested tweaks. For context, another top player, Iga Swiatek, also dealt with the pressures of the schedule and echoed concerns about tour.